Okay, the time is 7:04, and the August meeting of the Urbana Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission is called to order. I'll call the roll, if that's okay. John Zeman.
Here.
Tommy Griscom. Joshi Wang. Not here. Bruce Michelson. Not here. Sarthak Prasad.
Here.
Nancy Westcott.
Here.
Audrey Ishii. Here. Sue Jones. Here. Oh, yeah, thanks. Annie Adams Feldemeyer. Okay. Okay, we do not have a quorum. So we will go ahead and skip to the changes to the agenda. I guess we'll discuss that, and then we'll probably adjourn the meeting. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, on the agenda today, we had the Safe Streets for All grant discussion, and something must have kept Annie Adams from being here, because I know she was working on that today. The UIC campus bicycle update. Sarthak, do you want to give us a quick update on that?
It's supposed to be UIUC Campus Bicycle Master Plan update, and because we are working on a bicycle master plan update for our campus, the original or the previous one was published in 2014. We are working on getting the final draft ready and sent out for public input this week, so people might hear about it soon.
Will it be posted on a website then?
There will be, it will be posted on a website, and we will be sending it out via email, newsletters, and other means of communications.
So there'll be student involvement
There
also?
There will be student involvement, student, faculty, staff, community members, and we will also be sharing it with like state agencies like Ride Illinois, and we will be sharing it with League of American Bicyclists and Association for Pedestrian and Bicyclist Professionals.
So it's been 10 years, and is that kind of the plan to do an update every 10 years?
Yes, that's one of the goals or objectives listed in our previous plan, that we should update every 10 years, which we will continue to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll be ready to present next month
Yes,
then?
I will be presenting next week.
Okay, so
next month.
So it should be called the, is the
It
title
should be-
correct as the item, UIUC campus?
I would call it 2024 Campus Bicycle Master Plan Update.
Master plan update, okay. And UIUC, that's okay? Okay.
Technically, we don't. They've told me so many times we should not call ourselves UIUC. We should call ourselves either Illinois or U of I or
Do they want the,
let's just call it U of I 2024 Campus Bike Master Plan.
Okay.
And Annie is here.
okay.
Yeah.
Annie has entered, okay. We don't have a quorum.
That was my theory.
Yeah, well,
And I apologize, but I can stick around to approve the minutes, and then I need to leave. Now that we have quorum
yeah, we do have a quorum with
for
you
this
entering
this
now.
little window. Yep.
Yeah, but then we won't have a quorum.
Do you guys want to
Yeah.
do the meeting or do you want to cancel?
We're doing a few items. We just got an update from Sarthak about the U of I 2024 Campus Master bicycle master plan.
Exactly.
Yes. Well, it will be released publicly Friday, you're saying? Or maybe?
That's the target, but
Okay.
most likely next week.
Okay.
At the latest by next week. And it will be, the public input will be taken for at least 5 weeks, so
Oh,
end of
okay.
September.
So we don't
yeah.
have to jump right on it,
No,
but,
no,
okay,
yeah.
great. Okay, we have the meeting minutes. April 16th, I got a chance to read everything and correct it. Do we have and then the second one, I guess maybe we need to do these, can we do them together? I think so.
You
This-
corrected University or Cunningham to University Avenue
Um,
on the
You
FC.
sent in the correction. I saw
Yeah.
that you sent it in.
Yeah, so what Nancy had noted on the April 16th minutes was that on item FC, it should say, IDOT had a meeting regarding a shared use path on the north side of University Avenue from Maple Street to Ambucks Park. So I've
Okay.
made that note on my copy.
Okay. And then I looked at the July minutes, and other than what Michelle has already noted, that Annie and I were switched in a couple places, both in the unfinished business number 1 and also at the very end, the call for agenda items. That was me rather than Annie. So
Okay.
I have to say, I think Michelle is doing a wonderful job on these minutes. She is really putting
That's
in
very
there
nice,
what you
thank you.
need to know which meeting this was discussed at. And,
Thank
know,
you,
with-
Michelle.
Yeah, with
Oh,
the
that's very
addition of YouTubes, it's possible to recover everything. It's great.
Okay, so I've got the corrections on the July as, let's see, item E1. Basically, every instance of Audrey put Annie instead. And then on item I, it should be Audrey instead of Annie.
Right.
Okay, very good. So,
Okay.
yeah,
With these corrections, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
so moved.
I will second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, the minutes are approved. And we're talking about having a change to the agenda do you want, well, we can't vote on it, so do you want to discuss the Safe Streets for All even without a quorum a little bit? Okay. Okay,
And then
all right,
my
thank you very
apologies
much.
for leaving early.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, see, you're not actually allowed to leave when you leave this. Stay. All right.
Okay, so we can have well, then we might as well go through public input and commissioner communications. Did anyone, this is not just plain announcements, this is anything else that you might want to talk about at more length. Anyone?
I definitely have something.
Okay.
I rode my bike to the Kickapoo Rail Trail this weekend, and vehicles were behaving very poorly. And I would like for BPAC, if there's any way we can figure out ways to make the path to the Kickapoo Rail Trail safer for the pedestrians that are walking alongside it and the way people are biking on it. I was actually on my electric bike. I was easily over 20 miles. The electric bikes can go to 20. And I had cars, and technically you're supposed to take the lane, and I'm glad I did, because cars, there's a part on Main Street where there's a curve, but cars are driving on there like 50 miles an hour, and they're very angry if you're a cyclist using that space. And on Washington, it's the same situation. There's a speed feedback monitor there, and that I wish the speed feedback monitor would give people like a smiley face when they're driving the speed limit and slow down when they're not. But right now, what the speed monitor gives people is their speed. and it's really kind of incredible. People are just consistently driving 40 miles an hour down that road. And it's, anyone who's biked on that road know it's not a wide shoulder. So if we are asking children and parents, this is the advised route to the Kickapoo Rail Trail, I really think if we could find a way to slow speeds on those routes, it would be in all of ours best interest. So I don't know if that's an agenda item or how we'd want to talk about that at some point, but I feel like there has to be solutions. I do know we did discuss, right now, the speed limit on both on the route there is 30 miles an hour. I do think that there are other options, and I suspect there are other ways things we could do temporarily to the roads to make a safer passage for people who are not in automobiles. And as we do know, someone was killed in that area, so we're pretty much just waiting for another person to get killed in that area. And I was following the rules of the road. I was doing everything right, and it was absolutely terrifying. Yeah, it was terrifying, and people were outrageous, and I was stunned. And I'm on a very big, powerful bike. So
You said the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. Isn't it 35 there? It's 35.
I think on Main Street it is 35, especially once you once you go past the railroad, I think, if I'm not wrong.
past like Smith, like that.
I think so.
Okay.
Even
think so.
before then, I think it's
'Cause
right
there's that-
past Ilias.
I mean, there's a blind curve there where I've seen, as a cyclist, I've seen cars pass other cars on the blind curve. It's,
Well, 35 is above the default residential speed limit. It's something that if it should be in our ordinances as an exception, and it is not. So it may be not really legal. It's a question of whether it's legally grandfathered in, because that street was inherited from the county. And so they just kept it at 35, but they did not put it in the ordinance, which is, it should be in the ordinance. So this is a topic that we could focus on. We had previously, as you guys may remember, Bill Brown presented. Were you here, Sarthik? Bill Brown presented on the KRT study, the options for how to get there, and suggested that we revisit one that focused on a bike path to going down Main Street to get there to help address some of these deficits. I just drove there this week myself and saw at least 2 pedestrians just basically in the street, walking on the right side instead of the left. I was not happy, to see that they didn't have any choice. So
I think, isn't the bike lane kind of ends right after Weaver Park, or does it? Okay, yeah.
yeah, you can bike on the sidewalk and then you can join. There's a little bit of there's a bike path for just a little bit. And so the area that is of most concern is the area that has no bike path. And again, like, there's no reason why I feel like we couldn't put our heads together and come up with some temporary spaces for people to be able to walk and bike. Even shared use would be fine. Flexi posts would be fine. We don't have to redo the sewage. Those streets are plenty wide.
Yeah.
They are wide enough.
Well, Safe Streets for All demonstration grant. I mean, I know you didn't put this as one of the examples, but those were just examples. This is something that we could definitely apply for.
And I also think we need to actively figure out some solutions, and I really think we need to get these solutions in play sooner rather than later. It's bad. Like, it really is bad. I was just stunned. I was just stunned.
Okay.
I'm trying to Google to see if the speed limit's 30 or 35 because I can Google map it. I'm gonna look.
Oh, I can
At
tell
least
you.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
think
it many
it is 35 in the area that you're talking about.
So the area without the bike lane
Yes.
with the blind curve is 35 miles an hour. Wow.
For sure.
And then you can imagine, like, as a car driver, you're seeing 35, so you're going to go 42 or 44,
And that's where the person was killed
Yeah,
also.
and then it also opens up into that space outside of Weaver Park, the trailhead, which is, it opens up into that area outside of Weaver Park, which is 4 to 6 lanes, right? Remember, you know that big space, like where that crosswalk is supposed to be? Outside of the trailhead, you know where the Weaver Park trailhead is? So you take that curve, there are bike lanes there, but it opens up into this massive space for the cars, so it just keeps giving them more and more opportunity to want to drive faster.
Yeah.
I really feel there are just some simple things we could do to make it safer for again, I always see people walking, pushing children, and also, I know many parents who tried biking there once with their kids and will never do it again, ever.
Well, I wonder if we should think of an action item to have, we can't vote on anything official, but, yeah. 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 Yeah, we did have the one discussion, but I agree that more needs to be done because there hasn't been any action of any kind. And there was several efforts to take action. The Traffic Commission basically wasn't meeting. I know the police officer who stopped to help that victim tried to attend a Traffic Commission meeting to advocate for a lower speed limit. They were never meeting because it was during the pandemic, so, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I
ahead.
have two things. One, I would bring it to the I think that would be a good idea. But also, this is somewhat off topic, but I think it's another good reason why we should have license plate readers in Urbana. Just, in places like that or at dangerous intersections where we have accidents, I think, among other areas that maybe are high crime areas, I think it would be a good idea to have those license plate readers for times of crashes.
Well, I will say that wasn't a hit and run at all. The woman definitely stopped and took care of the victim.
but the thing, if there were license plate readers, I could at least have written down the time, told the police people were driving I took the lane, people were recklessly driving around me, and they would be able to at least notify those drivers that's an inappropriate speed limit for that space. But we do need to redesign those spaces. People, as much as I'm for police, touch pointing people, we really do need to redesign those spaces to make them successful. And I do feel we can do it in a way that won't cost a ton of money.
Yeah, and
could
I
just
agree
be-
Let's
with
put it
that.
on the agenda and discuss it when we
Yeah.
can really actually take an action thing.
Okay.
And when we got everybody here, when we've
It
got
could
more.
just be as simple as like maybe a road diet in that area,
Right, but let's,
because it's just paint.
Well, also, there is evidence that just changing the signage helps.
Yeah.
One thing that's really terrible about the way speed studies are done is they discount they want free-flowing traffic when they do a speed study, so they discount what are called packets. One person doing the speed limit with 2 cars behind him, like, a train, they call that a packet and throw that out. So therefore, they're biasing the speed study to omit the people who are obeying the law because it's not free-flowing traffic, which is one of the many outrageous, problems with the 85th percentile. It's nuts. That is exactly what signs do. So if you do a speed study correctly, what they found is, yes, the speed limit does go down, especially the deviations, even without enforcement. It actually does have an impact.
Which makes it more egregious if the sign said 50 miles, they were going 50 miles per hour, and you could see it.
What do you mean?
Well, Annie said that there was a speed sign there that said 50 miles per hour, isn't that right?
no, not there.
Oh, not there. Oh, sorry.
Right, I mean, that's
Okay, any other public input or commission? Well, we don't have public commissioner communications.
I do have one question. On the news last night, I saw, just in general, I saw on John Street in Champaign, it looked like they're taking away the bike lanes, and they are just putting in a wide middle strip down the center of the road between
I don't think there've been
Russell
bike lanes
and
there.
something in Russell.
Yeah, they don't have bike lanes there. They said they looked into whether they could put them.
They
So
did-
they've never had
they-
them there?
They have ages ago.
They had bike route signs. I don't know
Oh,
if they
I
had
think-
actual lanes.
I think at one point, back when I was talking about this with John Gilpin 20 years ago, I think they may have, but then like the codes,
Oh, I see.
so they don't now, they haven't for a while, but it's just been where if you were smart, that's where you rode your bike anyway, because it was a good
Well,
bike
they
route. and-
definitely had bike route signs for a
Yes,
very long
yes.
time, I think. Yeah.
But yes, they have done painting that basically, it does like a road diet. It makes it look skinnier, so people will hopefully go slower.
Except now, then the bikes really would be riding in with the traffic, it seems like.
Which
They
they
definitely
should
would be, yeah. They would be, bikes may use
And
full
should.
lane.
It's
Yeah.
not wide enough to be safely, like, no cars can be parked there. It's not wide enough to be safe being a curb hugger, because they'll pass you close. And so the paint job means that cars will have to cross it, and every day I experience that if they have to cross the line, they give you a lot more room.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and it's funny, because, like, I'll be like, why are they buzzing me? Oh, I'm close to the side.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe they'll be more reluctant to actually cross it because it is a big, heavy-duty thing. It looks like a median. I'm thinking they will be forced to go behind you. Imagine that, and for the duration
Right.
of that. And I thought they were short pieces, but I haven't gone out and looked at it. I don't know how long they run, those median. They're sort of like painted fake medians. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the Channel 3 News
Oh,
in the
okay.
last night or
But
two.
yeah, it's not a huge, long,
I thought it was shorter
Yeah.
pieces. Yeah.
I might just have to go check it out.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, it's one of the interesting things is, driver behavior when they're confronted with not enough space in the lane. Okay, I did get a suggestion from the public that I'll go ahead and state here, even as a commissioner communication, though it's kind of public input, from Cynthia, who asked that the city consider fixing the timing at Windsor and Race so that a bicycle can actually cross when there are a single unit standing there. Have you noticed also, Sue? The very short time. Yeah, it's incredibly short. It goes like a flash. Really?
Yeah, out here crossing, you get,
At Illinois and Vine?
yeah, you get 10 seconds.
Oh.
So if I'm going across and I know the sweet spot to make it trigger, I better be moving, because it's going
Oh.
yellow by the time I'm through. And I counted, it's 10 seconds.
Okay, so it sounds like it's more than one location, but of course Windsor is very wide. Crossing that, I have been quite astonished to see the light changed while I'm halfway across. But that's on bike. The response that she received from Public Works was that they could use the pedestrian button to have a longer period, but she suggested that was really a poor idea. Drivers don't expect to see a bike come shooting out of the crosswalk, which they would have to do besides the inconvenience to the cyclist.
And like out here, they told me the same thing, and I would literally have to go across, hop a curb, go around the curb part and hit it, and then have to watch all the it's egregiously bad design.
You're talking about
Right here.
Vine in Illinois.
Yeah. And that's where Cynthia will say, well, just go right and take the left over there. But it really continues to amaze me that a bicycle-friendly city will have that right here in front of the,
Okay, so it sounds like another possible agenda item, signal timing that is a little bit more bike-friendly when the bike, it's great that the signals see a bike, that's a big improvement.
if you know where to hit it.
But you
Yeah.
need to Okay.
You know, and maybe what we make the agenda item for Main Street is just, let's look at existing conditions, because right now I'm looking at a Google map of existing conditions, and that might help us wrap our minds around possible solutions. Because it's tight, but I think we can make it work.
I'm sorry,
For the Main Street discussion, I think what the best way to maybe discuss it, instead of going right to solutions, is just to look at existing conditions.
to start with existing
Yeah, just pull
conditions.
up a Google map and have all of us like look at existing conditions and yeah. And concerns. Instead of going to, here are some solutions, let's just look at the existing conditions on Main Street. We can just pull up a Google map and do it as a meeting agenda item. Does that make sense? Just existing conditions.
Okay, well, I know one existing condition is that there isn't a legal ordinance setting the speed limit at 35 miles an hour.
Well, I'm telling you, we have to have a discussion about it. Listen.
Okay. Next. Safe Streets for All grant. Annie, I think you made some changes after the package that went out, but they were pretty small, so you could, and we'll have to go over them, I think, at the meeting where we have a quorum. So I don't know how much we need to go over that, but if there's more you want to talk about.
I just want to thank, I've had a variety of editors help write this letter, and I just want to thank Nancy, and I want to thank Bruce, and I want to thank Audrey. And Audrey was the initial person to write it, and for allowing me to kind of rehash it. I actually wouldn't mind I'll just kind of quickly read it, because I think it always that's useful. And then I want to talk about the big question I have for all of us who are here today are the examples. So let me just start, I'll read it quickly. Dear Mayor Marlin and members of the Urbana City Council, the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Commission, BPAC, unanimously urges the city to apply for U.S. Safe Streets for All Road Users SS4A grants for FY 25-26. BPAC has confirmed with Champaign County Regional Planning Commission that Urbana can apply for the implementation and/or planning and demonstration SS4A grants. In 2024, nearly $1 million was awarded to CCRPC for supplemental planning and demonstration activities. About $200,000 will go towards demonstrations of safety improvements on North Lincoln Avenue. I'm going to just skim a little. About $800,000 will be used for county-wide Vision Zero data collection and safety planning with a goal of 0 Champaign County traffic fatalities. The CCRP's success in securing this funding is encouraging and suggests a similar application by Urbana will have an excellent chance of bringing in much-needed revenue for the city's safety imperatives. Federal funding for the supplemental planning and demonstration grant for fiscal year 24 is $461.5 million. Every eligible SS4A application was awarded financial support in the previous 2 years. The U.S. Department of National Transportation Safety Strategy is pursuing a safe systems approach to traffic management, which aims to eliminate fatal and severe injuries for all road users. Safe speed is a critical element of this approach. The SS4A grant process specifically approves speed management studies and plans. The grantee matches 20%, which can be in-kind services. Several communities of comparable size in Illinois, such as St. Joseph's in 2018, Savoy and Crystal Lake, population 40K in 2021, reduced speeds on residential streets from 30 to 25 miles per hour. An SS4A planning and demonstration grant would support Urbana's efforts to review similar street safety options. Additional activities in SS4A grant can fund include planning and facilitating public meetings on street safety options, testing traffic calming measures at high speeds and frequent crash locations, creating educational installations to improve situational awareness for Urbana bicyclists and pedestrians, including K-12 students, deploying crosswalks and other bicycle and pedestrian safety infrastructure, supplying safe routes to school activities. The application process is manageable by design with a one-page narrative and a two-page description of demonstration projects. Because these funding opportunities align well with Urbana's aspirations for safer streets, BPAC strongly encourages submitting an SS4A grant application in the coming year. BPAC is ready to assist in these efforts. There are some references. One is about Boston lowering the speed limit. Another one is about Seattle. The thing I would like to pay our attention to at this point was Audrey made a very wise edit. The following examples demonstrate conditions found throughout Urbana that SS4A projects could fund. Illustrated are Fairlawn and Vine, improve pedestrian crossings for students, faculty, and staff at UMS/UHS with crosswalks, vehicle stop bars, and pop-up stop signs. Anderson and Washington. Enhance safe routes to school with crosswalks, vehicle stop bars, and stop signs. Anderson and Fairlawn. Enhance crosswalks and add a traffic circle to manage speeds. Paint the backs of stop signs red to increase their visibility. I would like to add here, I will volunteer to do that.
I will note that I started looking at the backs of signs, and yeah, they're invisible at present, except where they put those LED lights. But this would be a low cost.
It's low cost, and it is actually, it's proven, if you Google it, it's proven that actually, and my theory is what happened was, I bet they used to be punched from red metal. That's my guess, is they used to be punched from red and yellow metal, and now we don't punch them anymore, we spray them. So then number 5, which is the controversial one, yet dreamy test Washington Bikeway, increase safety, add value to the neighborhood, reduce conflict with south side driveways, manage speeds. So I don't know, I definitely like the idea of including the first 4. I don't know if including the 5th one is like a red herring that will send people off the deep end. And then the other feedback that I got on this was, does it look like you're just focusing on one area? Well, realistically, these are just things I've presented on before, and it was easy to grab. So I was trying to make it just seem like, here's just sort of some stuff that we could do if we had some money. So that was the discussion I just sort of wanted to have. We don't have to kill ourselves over it, but I just thought I would ask if people have feedback on that.
In the same area, I would also recommend, like, we also had a discussion about Wine and Michigan or Wine and Pennsylvania. Either one of those or both of those should have a crosswalk or a stop sign or something, because at Michigan, that's just at the school. Pennsylvania is Blair Park. So yeah, like those are high traffic areas where people are crossing the streets, but there is no stop sign, there is no crosswalk. And I am, like today, I waited 1.5 minutes on my bicycle waiting for traffic to slow down so that I can cross Vine Street at Michigan.
So there's Vine in Pennsylvania, and what was the other one, cross street?
In Michigan.
Okay.
Yeah. And we talked about this because like there's only a stop sign at Washington, and then the next stop sign is at Florida.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I included examples was, first off, a lot of people just don't see the world the way we see the world. Right. So I always think it's good to just sort of illustrate it. And then the other reason why was because who's the delightful human who is the new city planner, and she said, if it's possible, could you guys give us exact examples of things that you need, right, or that you've talked about? And so I thought, well, yeah, we can do that. So that was the other reason why I wanted to put in exact examples. So I can work in Vine in Michigan, and I can work in Vine in Pennsylvania.
I think those are really, sorry, they're serving the whole community through the schools. Yeah, those are really, really excellent choices.
I just don't want like folks over by like the MLK school, you know, to be like.
Well, there are issues on Fairview. Yeah. So, and I don't know. I haven't checked. I don't know if John looked into putting LEDs on I know they actually went to the Traffic Commission about people not stopping at the stops there on Fairview. So I wonder if they thought to put LEDs on those stop signs. We should check. Where I know Cynthia's had trouble there too when she's conducted her school learning to ride.
The one
things.
I don't know who gave me this feedback. I can't remember exactly. Actually, I think I do remember. But what the feedback that I got was, will this send people? We don't want people distracted by the discussion of exactly what needs to be done. We want the discussion to be, hey, yeah, we really need this. This is great. Let's do it.
Yeah, that is a concern. That is the Washington Bikeway is super cool, but I think it's possible that people will think, oh my gosh, you're proposing this huge overhaul, even though it would be a temporary test.
Well, and it's also the other reason why it could be keeping in our back pocket is because we also really would love that intersection by Huaraches. We've all talked about it. The city has at one point planned to put in a roundabout there. The city
roundabout.
Yeah, and the city has purchased all the property around there. So and so obviously the Vine and Washington example, what is that? What's that? Yeah, the Washington Bikeway example would need that roundabout. You would need to actually do that to make that safe infrastructure for all the road users. So maybe we just keep that in our back pocket and do a full discussion, because it would be really great, I think, to bring up to redesign that whole area and get that whole area working properly, like that Cottage Grove intersection that, I've been talking about for 7 years at this point. It would be so delightful to get those spaces worked up. So maybe I take number 5 off, and I don't want to so much just continue to beat people over the heads with crosswalks and stop bars, but let me think about how I can work in Vine in Michigan, Vine in Pennsylvania. Let me think about how I can do this a little better. And that's it.
And it could be that actually, it could just be that the concept is the crosswalks and the stop signs.
That's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
And so
Right.
that way, you could even bring in Fairview. Here's
Yeah.
another example of a
Right.
place, and the solution would work for all of these places.
Right.
And then y'all can decide
Right.
which ones.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, the way I'm trying to, and I'm
That
not,
way, we're not going to have this is our neighborhood, we want it first.
right, yeah, I'm trying to make it be like, these are solutions that we can deploy. These are fundable solutions that we can deploy throughout the city. How about that? Huh?
And then, and so I would include Fairview in the,
Well,
just in the example, for example, blah, blah, blah.
yeah, I think that would be excellent. Also because one of the current city council members was concerned with that. It's Martin Luther King. It's the stop signs there. Lincoln's a signal. It's the stop signs, I think, maybe on the other side of Lincoln.
I'll be honest, I was driving my car over there, and okay, it's a black car, it's not orange, but a car didn't even see me and blew through that stop sign. I was pulling out of that school. It was during the
Yeah,
Urbana-Amble.
That's what they find
It was
a lot.
It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I don't know. There's something wrong with the way that space is designed.
Exactly. That's the place that could use your designer touch. And I would just like to mention, in May 2024, $64 million were awarded. There were 99 awards in 34 states. This is for the grant, for 2024. We're talking about 2025 now. And there's going to be 2 more rounds of announced awards. But anyway, I would like just to draw your attention to Greeley, Colorado, a population 3 times the size of Urbana with a similar fatality rate. They received $8 million for their grant, and they will be piloting speed management technologies, conducting MUTCAD, that's the regulation engineering studies to increase visibility of vulnerable road users, and piloting quick build activities through feasibility studies that will inform the city's in-progress comprehensive safety action plan. So, they are just giving money to people who will apply and say, I will use your money.
It's not like they're throwing money away. This is a very expensive problem that we have in this country, with over 40,000 Americans getting killed every year because of unsafe road conditions that we've built for a variety of reasons. And we have to find solutions to them. And we do know that money will be saved if we have 0 fatalities and if we have less vehicular accidents. So it's not like they're throwing money away. It's just that it's targeted, the money targeted to solutions.
To imply, yes, they're putting a focus on safety like they've never had before, which I attribute to this administration, and let's hope we have a a good administration in 2025 who has the same priorities. Okay. We don't have any city officials, new business, no announcements.
Students are coming back.
Noticed.
So this is move-in week. Classes start next week. So campus is going to be a lot more crowded. And
Parkland
surrounding
started
areas.
Monday. Parkland started Monday, so there, which is less influx of humans.
Yeah.
But it does mean people are going places.
Also, they closed Busey Avenue for this week, which might put a little more traffic on Lincoln too, unfortunately.
Yeah. Next, I already talked about the bike plan update, but let's talk a little bit about Bike Month update. So we have Bike to Work Day planned for Wednesday, September 18th, from 7 to 10 a.m. We are organizing Light the Night event, the Bike Lights giveaway event on Thursday, September 19th. Then on the 20th is Parking Day. So those are a few bike-related events that are happening just in that week itself. Rain date for Bike to Work Day is going to be Friday the 20th of September, and rain date for Light the Night will be Tuesday, September 23rd or 24th, whichever is the Tuesday.
First off, it's impressive that you're not even looking at a piece of paper and saying this, but September 18th is a Wednesday, and that is Bike to Work Day.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. 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 Well, we had to do that 3 years ago, indoors. That took indoors. We had to do indoors. Yeah, yeah. I cannot think of other announcements. I am installing eco counters all over campus. Hopefully by the next month meeting, I will have an update about 14 new counters that are being placed in and around campus. So we'll have about 24 counters in the university district. All the data is available for city or campus or community, basically. Like if any student wants to look at the data, they can reach out to us and we can grant access. We do publish monthly data from those, and if somebody wants more detailed information, they can reach out to us and we can give them that.
This is bike or bike and ped?
Both.
Both.
Bicycle and pedestrian data. Yeah.
I know last year there was discussion of doing like A-frame signs or yard signs, trying to encourage cyclists on campus to slow down, follow the rules. Is there any thought process on that? Were you able to get that done or not?
We did not have many further discussions after that. We had a few in the beginning, but it did not move forward. But that is something that I would like to do, especially, and again, like it's one of the objectives in the bike plan that we want to have some sort of like dismount zones or slower speed limit, especially in major pedestrian areas. So like all the quads or places that are leading to the quads.
Or just like, because a lot of the students there's no driver's ed. A lot of students have never participated in driver's ed and less are participating every year. So and like there's just basic bike rules that people don't know, like pass on the left. Or, that's like my pet peeve, like I beg you, pass on the left. Slow down, share the lane. just real courtesy things. But you know, what's funny is like we forget about it by the end of the year because everybody's almost died 3 times and they're like, oh, wow, I should probably, I see. You know, so it's like the etiquette kind of sorts itself out. But it would just, I wish there was a way, and I don't know what that way is,
So
that we
do
could train
actually-
people better.
We try to educate more and more people with bike safety quiz and everything. We send out the bike safety quiz information by newsletters and share that information during tabling events. And any newsletter that I send out for all the people who have registered their bicycles. But again, like how many people actively follow those things is a different story.
And they're getting so much. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just like, how many millions of things are they being told?
Yeah, yeah.
And I would just like to say, in the past week, I have seen like a multiple 100% increase in people biking around, and all ages. It's just so lovely. Like small children, big children, old adult, like everybody. It's just so great to see.
Yeah.
It's interesting contrast with the 1980s. When I came here, there was so much enforcement and so many rules. It was kind of crazy. You couldn't bike here and there. I kind of like the free form appearance right now. I'm amazed there hasn't been more problems. People seem to sort of have some idea, which it's interesting. Because in the 80s, it was like you had to be constantly looking for a cop everywhere.
And I just remembered 2 more things. One, Bird Bike Share is here. They have 500 bicycles in the market. So we have 750 with VO and 500 with Bird on campus. So let's see how that works. Hopefully it will be good and we'll receive less complaints, but let's see.
I have to say, I've been biking to Crystal Lake Park in the morning, and every time I go to Crystal Lake Park, I see people in full scrubs using those VOs.
Yeah.
The VO scoots. So I would love to see the data on, it's just really cool. It's just very cool. You just see these people in full scrubs, just like coming down that hill, like at Crystal Lake Park, yeah.
And VO also, like over the summer, they introduced this Apollo vehicle, which is a 2-seater. Yeah, at the same cost as Cosmo E. It's a 2-seater. No, like a moped or a motorcycle, which, yes, so it's just a longer seat. The wheels are bigger. I like the safety features on that more, but personal opinion, they look a little more like motorcycles or
Yeah,
scooters.
and I don't know if I'll be surprised if they'll be successful, because when I see people on campus checking out the scoots, they kind of enjoy like each one having their own little scoot and like moving around by themselves.
Yes,
and
but there are people who would have 2 people on their Cosmos. Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Sounds like it's a cost saving, so people who are
Yes.
using these for
Yes,
commuting,
exactly,
say
yeah.
on along University Avenue, will prefer those.
Yes. I still hope they don't go and write these on university, but
I can say many things about the IDOT installation on University Avenue, but the sidewalks are nice,
yes.
and they can ride those legally on the sidewalks, and almost,
Like once you go east of Wine Street, that's where I'm scared.
We'll
Well, there's been a change in truck traffic on University Avenue, and the engineers at IDOT said they will be doing a new traffic count study, which might change the bike level of service to a level that everyone would agree merits bike lanes. And that's because Emulsicote has moved to North Lincoln, and 70% of its operations anyway, so greatly reducing the truck traffic, which was the major sticking point for bike level of service. So, what?
My question is, where is the truck traffic now?
University Avenue has a much higher rate of percentage of truck traffic than, say, North Prospect, which they're proposing an actual complete street for. And it's because the truck traffic is only like 3% of traffic on Prospect, and it's 9 or 10% on University Avenue. They're counting buses as trucks. That's another issue. So hopefully when they redo this study, they will also note what are buses and perhaps give them a little bit of leeway. But more importantly is the formula they use to compute bike level of service is so weighted by truck traffic that if that's reduced, that alone could be enough to knock it into a C level instead of a D level.
And another truck traffic discussion at some point would be nice to have is Washington Avenue right now has a lot of truck traffic, and that is a residential street. And again, we are allowing trucks to drive over 30 miles per hour on that street, which is just bad. Washington, yeah, I'm saying the right words. Washington
Street.
Have anything else? The abandoned bicycles project, we removed 260 bicycles this year. And we are now in the process of returning those bicycles or as many students would actually send me proper information. Like, yesterday I received an email from a student saying, I had a gray silver bicycle parked between BAR and Sigma Nu.
Me too.
And I do not know the make or the model of the bicycle. It was not registered, and what was it? Like I asked for a picture, sends me a picture of a wheel of some bicycle, and I'm like, I cannot tell you anything from this. And they basically wanted me to take them to the storage unit to show them all the and pick a bicycle. I was like, not happening. But so if people tell me what the make and model were, where they had left it, if they have serial number, great. If they have the bicycle registered, then it will be easy for me to find their bicycle.
What percentage of the bikes you recovered were registered?
About 10%.
Oh, just
Only
10%. And I
10%.
thought it's required to register.
So if somebody wants to claim their bicycle, they have to register it. Because we don't enforce, we don't go out to the bike racks and enforce like, hey, your bicycle is not registered, so here's your $25 ticket. Yeah, but you should.
I know, my bike's not registered. I know, I'm one of the people.
Yeah.
You're an outlaw.
But that's the reason. The bike registration is actually for all residents in Urbana-Champaign, Savoy, as well as the campus. So, yeah. We are in the process of, or we are starting the return of bicycles. Hopefully, we will have more than 10% return rate this year.
Is 260, what's that? Do you have it compared to other years?
Last year it was the same number, and we returned 25 bicycles. The year before we had 500.
Yeah,
And
that's what I was trying to figure out.
And
Because
that
we were
year-
hoping with like the VO that you would get less.
I think it has reduced the number of bicycles that have been left on campus, plus with the amount of communication that we have been sending in April has definitely reduced the number. Next year, I expect even less because I'm purchasing some shipping containers for bicycle storage, where that will be available for students to store their bicycles over winter or summer.
Where will they pay for that, or how are you going to? They'll have to register it, right? I love it, love it.
You have to register your bicycle to use the storage facility, and it will. The original plan is it will only be available to students living in dorms, and if we have space left, then we'll open it to other students, but it'll only be for students because students are paying for this.
Where will they be located?
Just across from Campus Bike Center, right next to the personnel building.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. I would hate to leave my bike out year round in these conditions. That's just absolutely fantastic. Thanks for figuring out that. I don't know who
It's
came
a
up.
very permanent, temporary solution for us. Yeah. Because since considering like we don't want to build, or we want to be net zero, like in space growth. If we are working towards sustainability goals, we don't really want to build a new building to store bicycles.
Recycling.
Having used shipping containers as something like that makes more sense.
And
anyway.
one thing, I know this might
Then
sound
they
like a
can be
pipe
moved
dream, but like the housing, they definitely don't have enough housing, and they definitely gonna be building new housing. So it would be cool if when they built that new housing, they allowed for space in the basements because obviously what would be ideal would be people could check their own bike in and out. Like you wouldn't, because the problem with shipping containers is you're not going to be allowed in or out.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
have to be this whole human process, which is just really time consumptive and expensive. It would, and I have a fantasy that, there's lots of parking ramps all over campus. Like I always imagine like converting one level of those parking ramps to, bike parking. But there's a lot involved in that sentence. But that's always kind of been one of my fantasies, is that people could, because it would just be so great. It would be so helpful for people to be able to park their bikes indoors.
I think those are all the things that I wanted to announce.
Okay, and we have several agenda items for the next meeting, so unless we have any other additions, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.